Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Exploring My Minecraft World here. Today we are exploring the Northeast. So, this is episode 2 of just exploring a massive world that I have built on Minecraft. There are 26 different towns set up on a grid system. We explored most of just kind of the central area of Briarwood, which is the capital of this nation. Most of it is based around Switzerland and various cantons and cities in Switzerland. Today we are in a town called Arno, and this is based on Aargau. It is one north of Briarwood and one east of Briarwood on the town grid system. So we are exploring the northeast of the nation today. We are starting over here in what is called Intel Park. Now, this stadium is based on Oracle Park in San Francisco, or it will be when it's finished. All of these stadiums are unfinished, but I have flipped the outfields, so center field, the big scoreboard, is still there, but the Rawlings glove and the Coke bottle are going to be sitting in right field once they're complete, and McCovey Cove would sit behind left field now. But I switched the seats to blue. I've changed colors for a lot of these teams or a lot of their stadiums just to see what we could do with different color schemes. This is home to the Arno Airmen. Now, Arno's history, or at least the fake history that I've created for it, is this is where the Air Force is based out of. So the National Airport is based in Arno, or it will be once it's complete. And so we have teams like the Airmen, the Pilots, the Highlights, that sort of thing. The arena is not yet built. That's going to be based on Rogers Place in Edmonton called AT&T Arena. But over here, we have BP Stadium. And this is home to the Arno Highlights, the football team, and Arno City FC, the soccer team. This stadium will be based on Cleveland Brown Stadium in Cleveland, Ohio, with light blue seats rather than the orange ones that you see there. But this is all I have so far for Arno, one of the less developed cities, I would say, of the ones we're going to be exploring today. There are 6 towns that make up the Northeast. And so we start with Arno and work our way straight to the east. There's nothing directly north of Arno, but if we go one to the east, it is going to lead us to Zacston. Now, Zacston is the largest city. It's kind of the I shouldn't say cultural center, but more the economic center of the country, whereas Briarwood is the capital. Zacston is where a lot of the economy is based around, centered around banking, that sort of thing, a lot of finance district up in Zacston. It's based on Zurich in Switzerland, but as we travel east, you will get a better picture once we get there. A lot of unfinished buildings, but probably the largest city footprint of anything that we have so far. Ignore that creeper that we just ran across. If you missed the first episode, like I said, 26 towns built on a grid system, and each one is about 5 minutes walk apart. So what I did is, placing the blocks down, I spent about 5 minutes between each one setting down this high-speed rail system. You can probably travel between them a little under or a little over a minute, give or take, in either direction, but it just speeds things up traveling on this packed ice system. So over here is going to be a hospital, and it is in very premature shape right now, but this is based on, is it Bridgepoint Health in Toronto? It's a hospital on the eastern end of Toronto, next to the old Don Jail. But they filmed, my favorite TV show of all time is Orphan Black. It's a Canadian thriller series about clones, starring Tatiana Maslany, who you probably know as the lead character in She-Hulk. Obviously, She-Hulk lambasted by critics and fans alike, but Tatiana Maslany is fantastic in Orphan Black. If you've never seen it, she plays all of the different clones very well, won several daytime Emmys for it. But regardless, they filmed a lot of the science scenes in this building, and so that's why it is based, or that's why I'm building it, is because it's a replication of something from my favorite TV show. This right here is going to be based around Yankee Stadium. You can kind of see me starting to build the kind of classical Roman exterior of Yankee Stadium. Let me see if I can find my little chart here telling me about this stadium. We are in Zacston. This is Samsung Stadium. It's home of the Zacston Serpents. Their color scheme is orange and black, so I've changed the navy seats of Yankee Stadium to orange with some black seats in the outfield once it's complete. Obviously incomplete here. I have technically flipped the outfields, but Yankee Stadium is fairly symmetrical. Unlike most stadiums that you see nowadays, Yankee Stadium is fairly symmetrical. It's still got the short porch in what is now left field rather than right. Right field has a curve that the Yankee Stadium has in left field. The center field section's yet to be completed. Bullpens on either side of center here. There will be a big, massive scoreboard, video board in center field here. Behind is the start of downtown Zacston. So this massive building here is the Zacston Hilton. It's the largest hotel in the country, based on Antilia, which is the largest private residence in the world. It's in Mumbai. It's home to Mukesh Ambani, who is, I believe, still the richest man in India. This is his garden here. I have not done any super detailing of his garden section here, but it's got these massive pillars. Go check it out if you want to look up Mukesh Ambani home or Antilia Mumbai. It's this massive skyscraper that is just home to him and his family. Down here, I just have a couple random buildings. This red and black one here is home to a just a financial building here, Blank Check Financial. This green thing here is based on the color scheme of the Dallas Stars. There's a Starbucks right here, but then I have Star Apartments as a play on the Dallas Stars. Over here, this black and gray one is going to be based on the White Sox. Give me one sec. I forgot. While we're on the topic of Orphan Black, I decided to make this a little pub. This section here is called Black Orphan Pub. But on the topic of the White Sox, they play at Guaranteed Rate Field, so this is Guaranteed Rate Financial right there. Back in this section is an arena, and this is called the Starbucks Center. Eventually, once it's complete, it'll be based on Amway Center, or the Amway Center, which is home to the Orlando Magic in Orlando, Florida, right now set up with an artificial grass tennis court. Black seats here. That'll be home to the Zacston Mountaineers hockey team and the Zacston Ravens basketball team. And I will also have a replication of SoFi Stadium once I can get the time to start building that. That'll be home to the Zacston Zebras football team and Zacston FC. I'll call that one YouTube Stadium. We go back over to the unfinished train station. All of these train intersections are going to have stations built above them. Once I get to them, of course, I'm kind of working my way around the world, just putting little things in at a time. So progress on each town is going to be very, very slow. But we are going to travel. There's way too many boats here. We're going to travel north. There's a couple villages to the north of Zacston here. And the first one, if I can find it on my chart here, it's going to be on the grid pattern or the grid position of 2 north, 2 east. And the town we are looking for is called Charing. And this is not necessarily based on anything specific with the stadiums. It's based on the area of Switzerland called Schaffhausen, but I've named it Charing or Sharing. This will be one of the furthest north points you can go, or at least the furthest northeast point you can really go in this world. It's got a few different stadiums of varying complexity or varying relations. So the baseball stadium you will see as we pull into town is going to be called Wells Fargo Park. Now, if you haven't been keeping up with our Instagram page, we do have a separate Instagram page where we do weekly updates on different builds, that sort of thing. So if you want to follow both, there should be a link to the Instagram in the comments or in the description of this video. I'm going to do kind of an outdoor forested station here, but right now the stadiums are kind of encroaching on it, so I think I'm going to have to move it way further down. But Wells Fargo Park is based on Truist Park in Atlanta, the new home of the Atlanta Braves as of 6 seasons ago. I'm a sucker for sliding pits, so I put circular sliding pits here. I flipped the outfield, so the grill is going to be in left field, but you have this center section here full of trees and full of a waterfall section here. But like I said, based on Truist Park in Atlanta. There's a couple different buildings back here. These two colors are the same. One of them is based on the color scheme, of course, of the Cincinnati Bengals. They play at Paycor Stadium, so I have this being a Paycor building here, and then Bengals Suites is the apartment complex that is part of these buildings here. It's also the color scheme of the Philadelphia Flyers, so I have a Wells Fargo Bank right on the corner here, of course, right across from Wells Fargo Park. Very fitting. Over here is the stadium. This is called Google Park. It is home to the Charing Hikers and Charing City FC, but this is based on Parken Stadium in Copenhagen, which is the national stadium of Denmark. I've changed the colors of the seats to blue rather than red, but it's kind of got this horseshoe pattern, and then just a glass section behind one of the end zones here. So it will be set up in its American football configuration, but this is Google Park, still yet to be complete. I'm trying to remember if I have locker rooms back here or not. It looks like I do not. But over here is the third venue in Charing. Now, I've mentioned in previous videos, if you've been following the channel closely, I grew up in the great state of North Dakota. And one of the, I shouldn't say one of the larger, but it is one of the larger venues in the state of North Dakota is the Civic Center in Bismarck, the town in which I grew up, the capital city of North Dakota. This is based on the Bismarck Civic Center. Now, I have never seen a hockey game at the Bismarck Civic Center. The Civic Center in Bismarck was built for basketball specifically, but it's got retractable seats on either end, and I've pulled these back to fit an actual ice rink. They did have hockey back here. There's a North American Hockey League team in Bismarck called the Bobcats, who have their own small venue that holds about 1,500 seats. The Civic Center holds about 10,000, and originally when they started, they played at the Civic Center. It became way too expensive to upkeep, so they built their own arena for it. But it's essentially a two-tiered sideline area here. There used to be an NBA G League team back when it was the NBA D League called the Dakota Wizards. Those are now the Santa Cruz Warriors. And so as a tribute to the Wizards, I have changed the seats, which are normally light blue, to purple, which was the color scheme of the Dakota Wizards. There is also an overhang section on this end. And of course, this is based around Switzerland, so I've put the Swiss flag in place of where the American flag is here. But this is home to the Charing Titans, and the Charing Express, which is the basketball team. Over here, I have a guest basketball locker room, black and green. Eventually, this will be one of the guest hockey locker rooms. This is the other guest basketball locker room, black and yellow. My wife demanded I put a sniffer in the stadium because she thinks they look funny. I put two of them, actually. And this is the main Charing Express Basketball Club locker room with a color scheme kind of similar to the Charlotte Hornets with like a purple, teal, and gray. And then right around the corner here is going to be the locker room for the hockey team, the Charing Titans Hockey Club, purple, white, and black. Let's go back down south. So we have to go back to Zacston, and then we're going to work our way to the east. There are, let's see, if this is the third town we've covered, there are 3 more in the northeast. There's 6 in the northeast, 5 in the northwest, 9 in the southwest. You'll see in a future video. I have all of those started except for one. There's one I have not yet gotten to, not out of disinterest necessarily to the different buildings that are going to be there, just the southern half of the world is a lot bigger than the northern half of the world, and that is because, like I said, most of these are based around Switzerland. Not all of the towns are based on the locations of the cantons. It just wouldn't work that way. A lot of them are very complex and kind of interwoven with each other, but I got them as close as I kind of could while making it a solid grid system. But we have 2 straight east of here and then 1 to the far east in the northeast of the land here. And if I find, let's see, because Zacston is at what grid position? Let me find it here. It is 1 north, 2 east. So if we're going east, that brings us to 1 north, 3 east to a town called St. Sophia. Here we pull into Zacston. There's that hospital that is very, very much unfinished. There's that unfinished Yankee Stadium that we already touched on earlier. Let's go straight east to, like I said, St. Sophia. St. Sophia is based on St. Gallen, which is one of the canton areas in Switzerland. Various color schemes for the different teams. I didn't have anything super consistent. There are 3 different stadiums that you will see in St. Sophia, or at least there will be once I finally get them going. 2 of them are really kind of underway. If you are following along on the Instagram page, like I mentioned earlier, one of them is called Paramount Park. That is based on Angel Stadium in Los Angeles. That is home to the St. Sophia Deacons. There are pink seats instead of the green seats that you will see at Angel Stadium. Eventually, we will have an arena called US Bank Plaza with brown seats based on the Chase Center in San Francisco, the new home of the Golden State Warriors. And then one of my favorite stadiums, I say that about every stadium, but one of the more distinct stadiums, I should say, because of its color scheme, there are yellow seats at TD Park, and that is based on Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. A bit of a ways to get between the two here, but there you start to see that replication of Angel Stadium. Paramount Park here. I flipped the outfields like I do with almost all of my ballparks, and so you see the rock formation in right center rather than left center. The upper deck here is going to be in left. There's this cavern section here based on the one you see in in Angel Stadium rather. And back here is TD Park. Now, the reason I say it's very distinct, despite the fact that it's really just an end zone section here so far, is that it is home to the St. Sophia Dominions. If you're unfamiliar with biblical mythology, Dominions are one of the 3 middle tiers of angels. So there's 9 tiers of angels in Christian mythology. And I say mythology because it's not necessarily strictly biblical, especially when you're talking about angels. You have just kind of the biblically accurate angels that people joke about. I can't remember which specifically those refer to, but one of the middle tier of the 9 types of angels are dominions. And they're basically what you would think of with normal angels, but they're more powerful, they're a lot larger, and they have 4 wings instead of the stereotypical 2. And so I have this statue behind the end zone here, and then the TD Park logo and little scoreboard that is based on Raymond James Stadium in Tampa. So that statue basically takes the place of the pirate ship. I know it's kind of a bit of a lackluster comparison, or what's the word I'm looking for? Compensation is the word I think I was looking for there. Let's go north then to the town that sits at 2 north, 3 east. And if I'm looking at my chart correctly, 2 north, 3 east is going to bring us to a town called Thurmansport. Now, Thurmansport is going to sit on a lake in the northern part of the country here. And so as it sits on a lake, it is going to be a tourist hotspot. We have teams. The baseball team is called the Thurmansport Yachts. We have the Thurmansport Tritons hockey team. We have the Thurmansport Dolphins basketball team. Thurmansport Reef is the name of the football team, and the soccer team is called the Thurmansport Bay. So it'll be a lake, but I'm tempted to make it a saltwater lake and have various creatures like dolphins and all the stereotypical like. But on the left here, you are going to see I started on my words there. PPG Paints PPG Paints Park. I wanted to go with the triple P there. And this is one of the few ballparks that is not based on an MLB park, or at least an active MLB park. And it's not even in the MLB at all. It's not even in the United States at all. This is based on Escon Field, which I can't remember which team plays there, but this is an NPB ballpark, the Nippon Baseball League in Japan. Escon Field, it's a domed stadium. It's got a very unique footprint. Go check it out if you want. Like I said, that's called Escon Field, but I flipped the outfields here. Eventually, it'll be domed as well. And then, of course, when I started to build this, this is based on Levi's Stadium in Santa Clara, home of the 49ers. When I started to build this, it was called Twitter Field. And then Elon Musk had to go do his thing, so now it is called X Field. And it is home, like I said, to Thurmansport Reef and Thurmansport Bay. Purple seats instead of the red that you would see at Levi Stadium. Very, very much unfinished. I've just started working on the tower that holds all of the suites. And then, of course, a grass roof here. But let's go back south and let's go east to the final town that we have to cover. Before we leave Thurmansport, I just want to mention we will have an arena eventually based on the arena in Perth, simply called Perth Arena. And that'll be called the Chick-fil-A Center, based around the chicken restaurant. But we have to travel south first, back to St. Sophia, and then we go east to one of the smallest towns in the nation, or at least it will be once I finish building it. That is called Apple Tree Hamlet. Now, Apple Tree Hamlet, I have a lot of dead air to cover while we travel south and then east, is based on the town of, or the region of Switzerland called Appenzell. And it is home to, or will be home to 3 separate stadiums. We have my wife's favorite stadium that I've built simply because of the name. It's called HelloFresh Field. Now, if you're unfamiliar with your MLB lore, and I say lore because it's not necessarily history of the league, just stuff that could have happened. Obviously, as of me recording this, the Oakland Athletics are in the process of moving to Las Vegas. Now, part of the reason they're moving to Las Vegas is because they haven't been able to secure a stadium deal to stay in or around Oakland. In 2005, they put a pitch to the city of San Jose for a stadium called Cisco Field. Now, Cisco Field took a variety of different forms in its design. I am basing my design for HelloFresh Field around the original 2005 version of the Cisco Field pitch. Now, obviously, this design fell through. They changed it and tried to improve it with a more a smaller and more circular design. That fell through eventually too, mostly because the San Francisco Giants did not want the Athletics encroaching on their blackout territory, and so they pushed them out of San Jose. Eventually, they tried to do a variety of Oakland pitches. They did the Engels Group decided to design a stadium near the Oakland port, and that was Oakland Ballpark, which was proposed for 5 years at least. It was a topic of discussion in my architecture class in college before I ended up leaving school. That never went through either, and they lost their financing proposal with the city of Oakland. A lot of legal troubles, legal battles, and now, of course, they're moving to Las Vegas. But this is based on the original Cisco Field proposal in San Jose, which would have been home to the Oakland Athletics or potentially the San Jose Athletics. But right now it is home to the Apple Tree Stallions. Red seats instead of what would have been green. I flipped the outfield, so this tower here, which will have a pool on the top, would have been in right field. Kind of a big tiered walkway section in center field here. And just the stereotypical green screen backdrop for the batter's eye there. Back here is the Hard Rock Super Center. So I've switched the names of Hard Rock and Caesars in 2 separate stadiums here. My Hard Rock Stadium replication is based on, or it's called Caesars Stadium or Caesars Park, I can't remember. But this is based on the Caesars Superdome. I've called it the Hard Rock Super Center. And this is home to the Apple Tree Gibbons football team and Apple Tree Forest, the soccer team. This will be based on the Superdome, so it will have very, very many seats once it is finished. A circular footprint, which I am in the process of measuring. And eventually we will have a copy of the Kaseya Center in Miami called Robin Hood Arena. Of course, a joke on FTX being a cryptocurrency form or platform, I suppose, that of course fell through, and the stadium or the venue lost its naming rights. Over here, though, is one of the more I shouldn't say peculiar, one of the more standout parts of Appletree Hamlet, and this is the National Gardens. There are going to be several different buildings that are part of the National Gardens. This first section here is based on Kew Gardens in London. And right now I have these two interconnected, one of them's finished, one of them's not, greenhouses. I say finished, it's not finished by any means. I still have to trim down some trees and put some walkways in here, but this is going to be the oak building, based around the oak forest biome in Minecraft. This is the birch building, which will be based obviously around the birch forest in Minecraft. Back here, we are going to have two interconnected domes that are based around the Eden Project in Exeter. Yes, Exeter, right? I think so. Correct me on it if I'm wrong. It's in the west of England for sure. But we have a jungle dome here, and then in the back, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do a bamboo dome or a desert dome. I think I'll do a desert dome and then do separate Asian style greenhouses in the back here as we do all of the different biomes in Minecraft. But that being said, that's the entire Northeast. We end with Appletree Hamlet here. Let me know if there's stuff you want to see. Maybe you've seen it on the Instagram page, or there are parts of the world that we've already covered in videos that you want to see updates to. If there's stuff you want me to replicate that you think I'd be able to build and update it in a future video, let me know in the comment section below. There should be a link to all of our other Minecraft videos as they come out. Probably every Sunday is what I'm going to try to do for the foreseeable future. That's typically when I do video game content, Sunday at 11 o'clock Eastern. There should be a link in the bottom left hand of your screen to all of the other Minecraft videos. But in the meantime, we'll see you very, very soon.